In this video recap, we will be looking at Alice Guo nakalabas, Senrisa nagkasagutan, Taal bumuga ng small, at marami pang iba.
Kumusta for me? This is a 4 Joseph and welcome to News and Worthy Recap Weekly Edition number 65. We've done some coverage since last week, so skip the times as provided if it piques your interest. Get to the down for the blazing selected summation. Here are some peaches commentary for your convenience. Nakaalis si Mayor, where did she go? You know what? Grabe no? Maraming Pilipino ang gustong umalis sa Pilipinas at magtrabaho sa ibang bansa. Pero ang daming hinahanap, ang daming hinihingi. Papasok ka sa agency, tapos sa immigration. Kapag aalis ka na ng bansa, ang daming gustong itanong. Baka ma-deny pa ang visa mo. Samantalang gusto mo lang naman makapaghanap buhay o kaya maging turista sa ibang bansa for pleasure. Para makaalis sa kung anumang suliranin ang kinakaharap mo. A breath of fresh air, pero hindi makaalis dahil sa ating penchant or at least the stigma. The penchant to work and overstay abroad. Ayun yung nagiging stigma. Well, this shall serve as a friendly reminder that everything is possible. Why did I say so? Well, lalo na kung may pera at connection ka, makakaalis ka sa imong bansa kahit na ikay controversial suspended mayor na di umano'y sangkot sa mga illegal na gawain at nasa immigration lookout bulletin pa ng gobyerno. Basta may kwarta, may gala, lalo na kung incompetent ang may hawak ng susi. Ayon kay Opposition Senator Risa Ontiveros, na nanguna sa pagtugis at pagbuklat ng katotohanan sa pinagmulan at asosasyon ni suspended Bamban Mayor Alice Guo kasama ni Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, nakaalis na raw ng bansa ang suspected illicit Pogo associate Bamban Mayor noong nakaraang buwan pa nitong July 18.
Last month po, o noong July 13, 2024, naglabas ang Senado through the Senate Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, and approved by the Senate President ng contempt citation and order to arrest laban sa Chinese national na si Guo Huaping, also known as Alice Leal Guo. Nagpapasalamat ako sa Senate President sa maagap na tugon nila para mailabas ang arrest order. At salamat din kina General Angkan na alam ko binuhos ang buong puwersa at lakas para sa operasyon na hanapin si Guo Huaping ng Senate OSAA. But Mr. President, I am now in receipt of information that this person was already in fact out of the country on July 18, 2024 to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Ipapakita ko po ang dokumentong ito bilang patunay na pumasok sa Malaysia si Alice Guo. Siya po ay pumasok ng 12:17, 13 seconds military time ng July 18. Kaya ibig sabihin, umalis siya ng Pilipinas sa gabi ng July 17. Mr. President, hindi po pwedeng ipagkaila na siya ito dahil match na match po ito sa kanyang Philippine passport na ifa-flash ko ngayon.
This is kind of a big fuck up para sa ating gobyerno considering siya ay nilagay sa Immigration Lookout Bulletin o ILBO ng Department of Justice. Baka mamaya, naglo-lookout lang sila. Hindi naman nila nire-record or nag-a-alert sa ating gobyerno o sa mga concerned authorities or maybe never even bothered to do so in the first place. Though, to be fair, kasalanan ito ng mga prosecutor lalo na't may outstanding court order pa siya and Immigration Lookout Bulletins lookout, pero that doesn't really bar people from really living the country. It's just that they look out for those that would go outside of the country. Ayon sa impormasyon ng Rappler, and that has been proven time and time again, nakarating si Guo Huaping or allegedly Alice Guo sa Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia nitong July 18 at pumunta ng Singapore kinalaunan noong July 12. No, 21. Ang funny thing lang doon is the fact na nagkaroon tayo ng malawakang global IT outage that grounded airports noong July 19 or even 20, including the Philippines and much of Southeast Asia and the world in general, which meant delayed or canceled flights, but nakaalis pa rin siya. Buti na lang, di ba? Her departure also coincides dun sa kanyang pag-absent sa mga hearing ni Senator Risa at Sherwin kung kailan siya na-cite in contempt back in like the first week of July. The big contention here is the fact na may nakakita raw kay suspended Mayor Guo noong August 14 para mag-file ng kanyang counter affidavit sa Bulacan noong August 14 ayon sa isang Elmer Garcia na nag-notarize daw ng kanyang affidavit sa Bulacan ayon kay DOJ Prosecutor Sonny Ocampo na nag-head ng qualified trafficking complaint laban kay Alice Guo from the DOJ. Nagkaroon siya ng trafficking complaint dahil sa kanyang di umano'y suspected illicit Pogo Association, lalo na sa Pogo Hub na nasa likod ng kanyang City Hall and tons of paper trails linking her sa Pogo Hub na iyon na ni-raid dahil sa sangkatutak na krimen caught red-handed. Na pinatawan na ng Senate arrest order si Guo sa Senado pa dahil sa kanyang mga pag-iindiyan sa mga hearings patungkol sa illegal na gawain ng mga Pogo na kanyang associated sa kanya sa bansa kasama ang isang Immigration Local Bulletin Order katulad ni Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque last week. Pero as I said earlier, and of course last week, hindi naman mapipigilan nitong umalis ng bansa ang sino man na mapupunta sa ILBO. Kaya raw hindi napigilan ng pag-alis ni Alice Guo ng bansa ay dahil wala silang ipinatong na hold departure order or even just the preliminary or preemptive, hold departure order or HDO or PHDO. Dahil nagagamit lang ito if there's a pending case, pero ngayon pending na rin daw ang qualified trafficking complaint ng DOJ prosecutor mentioned earlier. Now, the DOJ could have placed a precautionary HDO or preemptive HDO na nabigyan ng oras ang mga prosecutor to meticulously build a case para mapunta sa korte at mahain ang kaso. Just so that, hindi sila mag-worry na kailangan nilang bilisan ang paggawa ng case laban kay Alice Guo and take their sweet old time kasi hindi siya makakaalis ng bansa. Buti na lang yung mga PDLs natin, hindi sila makaalis ng bansa kasi nasa kulungan sila, hindi pa sila nakakasuhan, hindi pa naririnig ang kaso nila sa korte, pero nakakulong na sila. They are PDLs, katulad ni, Laila de Lima and millions of people na na-cramped or nasa loob ng mga cramped na prisons sa ating bansa. And that's sad. Tapos si Alice Guo makakaalis lang ng ganyan-ganyan bigla. Now, ang sabi raw ng DOJ Undersecretary, hindi na daw nag-file ng PHDO dahil may ILBO naman. Or at least dahil may ILBO naman daw. Which doesn't really hold up much water considering, they should do everything they can to prevent any fugitive or possible fugitive to get out of the country. May warrant laban kay Alice Guo at kailangan niya raw ng authorization from the DILG Secretary para makalis ng bansa. But the fact of the matter is, bakit ba siya susunod? Diba? Kasi bakit siya susunod na kailangan niya pala authorization from the DILG Secretary kung, tinutugis na siya ng bansa and more often than not, hindi siya papayagan. Because again, she has pending cases. Now, gamit ni Guo ang kanyang pasaporte as her right to travel because she's still officially a Filipino citizen dahil hindi pa nakakancel yung supposedly fake birth certificate niya and of course, her passport. Kaya siya'y nakaalis ng bansa. So, she actually used some legal way to actually get out of the Philippines. Wala siyang ginawang masyadong transportation gymnastic katulad na nangyayari sa ating bansa dahil wala tayong elementary picture nung bata tayo. Tapos wala tayong show money, tapos wala tayong basta ang daming hinahanap kapag mahirap ka. Tapos gusto mo lang umalis ng bansa or just to travel abroad. Kailangan talaga may kakilala ka, may pera ka. Only after did we learn publicly via Senator Risa Ontiveros na nakaalis na ng bansa si Guo na nag-utos ang gobyerno na i-cancel ang passport para hindi makalis and so that she couldn't go anywhere. In order ni Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin na i-cancel na ang mga pasporte ni Mayor Alice Guo, Wesley and Sheila Guo at Cassandra Leong. Yun yung nagrehistro sa Pampanga and agent of Lucky South 99 Pogo at kliyente ni dating presidential spokesperson Harry Roque na ngayon nasa Immigration Lookout Bulletin Order na rin. And I don't think this is relevant but nasa in contempt siya dahil sa kanyang pagsisinungaling patungkol sa bakit hindi siya naka-attend ng hearing last time. Sinabi niyang meron daw siyang hearing pero nung tinignan sa MRTC, I'm not really sure, merong testament to the fact na wala silang kaso na nangyari noong araw na yon. So he lied for his tardiness and absence noong last hearing sa Senado patungkol sa POGO operations in the country. Ayon kay Sandri, lumipad siya noong July 18 sa Malaysia to meet her father, mother, brother at Cassandra Ong sa Singapore. Noong July 20. Tama ba? Noong July 21, pumunta naman siya ron from Malaysia to Indonesia via ferry. Ayon naman sa DILG Secretary, nahuli na raw ang dalawang kasama ni Mayor Alice Guo at I think napunta na siya sa kapatid na si Sheila Guo at dinalang naka-wheelchair matapos raw itong mahilo at Cassandra Leong sa Indonesia. You can watch my NIDW recap number 60 o kaya na may ang Mayor Alice Guo full timeline explained NIDW mini major tidbits and hindi ako magbibigay ng recap kasi recap na nga yun tapos ipaparecap mo pa, di ba? Like, just watch my other video. Now, this is an ongoing thingamajig so Risa at Sara hindi na magkaibigan. Nagkasagutan si Senator Risa Ontiveros at Vice President Sara Duterte sa isang budget inquiry para tugisin at scrutinize ang budget na hinihingi ng opisina ng Vice President. Now, of course, ayon sa proposed 2025 budget ng OVP, hinihingi nila ang higit 2 bilyong pisong budget with an 8% increase compared to the last year's approved 2024 GAA budget. Now, of course, idinadeliberate ng Senate Committee on Finance headed by Senator Grace Poe, dumating si Senator Risa Ontiveros with but a few questions lamang regarding VP Sara's want for the 2 billion pesos, but at least for now, wala ng confidential funds. So that's a big win for us. Now, the first question Sandri asked was, bakit ang daming programa ng opisina ng Vice Presidente na pwede namang ma-allocate para sa ibang ahensya dahil sakop ito ng kanilang mandato? Particularly the Department of Social Welfare and Development o kaya Department of Labor and Employment para sa mga oportunidad for people in dire financial needs or even Department of Health para sa mga indigenous citizens at mga mahihirap. Well, kinwestiyon ni Sandri kung bakit ang daming overlap ng mga programa ng OVP o sa ilang parte ng gobyerno, particularly dahil pare-pareho or at least pareho-parehong parte sila ng executive branch and therefore administration, ang DOH, DOLE, and DSWD at ang Office of the Vice President. Now, why not just give the extra budget for the agencies of the government na ganoon ang mandato so that, you can ensure that this will actually be where it will be used. Those funds will actually be used in those agencies. Kasi nga, 1 billion pesos is a lot of stuff to just give to the Vice President if there's already an agency that is solely use or solely have the capacity and the mandate para, ma-implement itong mga programa ni OVP. What she could do is just, bigay natin yung budget na nasa OVP proposed budget for 2025 sa DOH, DOLE, DSWD. Tapos humingi na lang yung OVP sa DOH at DSWD. Well, kinwestiyon ni Sandri kung bakit ang daming overlap, as I said earlier. Why not just give the extra budget to the agencies of government na may mandatong ganito? The mandate of the VP or the OVP was just to be ready to succeed the president if they are impeached, unable to, or resigned in the position. With which Vice President Sara Duterte goes into defense mode, agad questioning why Senri is recommending na i-reallocate na lang itong mga ahensya. Sinabi ni VP Duterte na pinupolitika ni Senator Risa Ontiveros dahil sa kanyang pagkwestiyon ng paggamit ng kaban ng bayan. And if that's politicizing the budget, then just politicize it every time, every agency, every commission, every constitutional commission, everything. Politikahin nyo yung kaban ng bayan if that means scrutinizing just a little bit itong budget na pinopose na Administrasyong Marcos.
Salamat po, Chair, at magandang hapon po sa lahat, mga kasama ko sa Senado at yung OVP family. Dalawang tanong lang po, Chair, para ngayong araw. Una po, I note that a huge chunk of the OVP's 2025 operations budget, 1.909 billion pesos, will be used for the delivery of socio-economic programs, such as one medical and burial assistance program. This supplements other healthcare programs of the government to assist indigent individuals and families. For 2025, 771.445 million will be allocated for the program. Sa loob niyan, 600 million pesos for medical assistance and 171.445 million for burial assistance, which are, Madam Chair, very similar to the medical assistance to indigent or financially incapacitated patients program o MAIF-IP of the DOH. And DSWDs, Assistance for Individuals in Crisis Situations, or AICS. Pangalawa, disaster operations, which aims to provide relief goods to disaster-stricken areas not commonly reached by other agencies. Para doon, 101.644 million pesos. And is also similar doon naman sa disaster risk management program of the DSWD. Third, relief for individuals in crisis and emergencies, or providing food boxes or food items to families who are ineligible for OVP's other services, so 50 million pesos, which is also similar to DSWD's AICS. And last, Magnegosyo Taday, livelihood assistance for those with entrepreneurial skills, 150 million pesos, which is also similar to DOLE's naman, Integrated Livelihood Program o DLIP. So, ang tanong ko po dito, Madam Chair, anong nag-lead sa OVP na mag-consider na i-launch yung ganitong programs? May ginawa bang studies para suportahan yung pagkakaroon ng ganitong programs na parallel naman sa katulad at existing programs ng iba't iba nating line agencies, Madam Chair?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. Noong ako po ay nangampanya, 3 lang po yung sinabi ko na plataforma. Una po, trabaho. Pangalawa po, edukasyon, at 3, mapayapang pamumuhay para sa ating mga mamamayan. Nung pumasok po kami sa Office of the Vice President, tiningnan po namin ang mga pinakamaraming requests ng ating mga kababayan. Una-una po, ang lagi po naming natatanggap na request ay medical and burial assistance. Pangalawa po ay financial assistance. Pangatlo, lagi silang humihingi ng tulong sa pagkain. At pang-apat, very recently sa tali ng mga requests is yung educational assistance na sinasabi ng mga kababayan natin. So sila po ay lumalapit sa Office of the Vice President. Totoo po, merong mga ibang local government units at ibang national government agencies na ganito po ang kanilang programa.
Iko-consider ba ng VP na i-lodge na lang yung mga budgets nitong mga programa dun na lang sa mga line agencies natin? Tapos mag-request na lang ang OVP ng allocation para in sync sa priorities ng executive department sa halip na magkaroon pa ng hiwalay pero magkatulad naman na programa, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, we only submit the budget and we leave it to the discretion of all the members of Congress to decide on the budget. We can only propose a budget for the Office of the Vice President. Pero magbibigay po ako ng halimbawa kung ganun po ang gagawin natin. Tulad po ng AIX ng DSWD. Kapag meron po kaming nire-refer o binibigyan ng endorsement ng AIX sa DSWD, kadalasan po nasagot sa amin ay hindi pwede dahil galing yan sa Office of the Vice President at kalaban yan. Minsan po, totoo yan na pupolitika ang assistance para sa ating mga kababayan.
She took offense na nirekomenda ni Senri na ibigay na lang itong pera and figured na it had to be politicization ng budget inquiry. Kasi 1 billion rin yung budget na sinakop, almost 50% ng budget na hinihingi niya. Though, of course, to be fair, I don't think ganoon naman kaiba or hindi ka-approve ang mga programa na gusto pang ilunsad ng OVP. It's just that she should have just answered it without a hint of animosity at defensiveness at hingin na lang nila yung budget sa concerned agencies na ibibigay ng OVP. You know, just recommend them and, you know, maybe get some funds from the agencies tapos pwede silang mag-operate just like what they are used to. And in all honesty, it's supposed to be unity sa executive department. Pero dahil daw nagkaroon ng animosity between the executive department, particularly the side of the president and the side of the office of the vice president, well, hindi raw sila nagbimegal, which kind of really boggles Senator Risa Ontiveros' mind, considering, you know, merong courtesy interlegislatively from the Senate and the House of Representatives para mag-work together. Tapos sa executive department pala, yung opisina or yung departamento ng gobyerno ay hindi gustong tumulong sa mga outreach programs ng opisina ng executive, which is the vice president. So that's kind of weird as well.
Ito pong sinabi ni Senator Risa Ontiveros na at the proper time she'll make a motion to lodge the budget, the requested budget of the OVP to the other agencies. Let me just quote Senator Risa during the Akbayan Congress. Alam ko po na ang daming kalat ni Duterte na hirap tayong linisin. Ang kadiliman noong panahon niya ay talaga namang nanuot sa ating lipunan para mansa na napakahirap tanggalin at habang ang anak niya ay may kapangyarihan pa, hindi magiging madali ang ating laban. While VP Sara is in power, the threat of a full-blown Duterte comeback is still a very real and present danger. For one, they are supported by one major superpower, China. So that is an example of politicizing the budget of the government.
I will certainly, if you request, Madam Chair, repeat my question dahil walang kinalaman sa kasasabi lang ng VP ngayon.
The second at mas inaabangan ng lahat na news story ay patungkol sa part ng isang much larger budget kung saan nagsiset aside ng 10 milyong piso para sa printing at publishing ng librong Isang Kaibigan authored by Vice President, into which she just lost her mind, bringing up the history between Senator Risa's affiliation and the Dutertes. She brought up Risa Ontiveros' speech in the Akbayan protest regarding her dahil sinabi ni Risa na hanggat nandyan ang anak ni former President Duterte ay pwedeng magkaroon ng comeback. Parang weird sabihin. Hindi pa tapos ang laban sa wala namang connect sa tinanong ni Senator Risa with regards to the logistics, printing, publishing at procurement ng libro na ginawa niya. Ang tinanong lang ni Risa, ilang pages ba itong librong ito, ilang copies ang gagawin, at tungkol saan itong librong ito. That's not an example of politicizing the question.
Senator Risa Ontiveros, repeat the last question.
I will certainly, if you request, Madam Chair, repeat my question dahil walang kinalaman sa kasasabi lang ng VP ngayon. Ang tanong ko po ay ilang mga libro ng Isang Kaibigan ay bibilihin at i-distribute at ano, if the VP could tell us more about the contents ng librong ito.
The book is not for sale. We only pay for the publication of the book. And we will send Senator Ontiveros a copy so that she will know what is the content of the book.
Nung tinanong ni Sandri, sinabi niyang bibigyan niya ito ng copy, seemingly not knowing what the book is about and just want the inquiry with Senri to be over. Kumbaga sabi niya, sige, papatahimikin na, bibigyan kita ng kopya. Right this instant, tomorrow, meron ka ng kopya. Senri made it her point na hindi niya tinatanong kung ano yung laman ng libro para sa kanya or for a political stand. Tinatanong niya on behalf of the committee na sumusuri sa budget at pera ng taong bayan. Kumbaga, hindi maisip ni Senator ni Vice President Sara Duterte na may concern lang talaga. Ito si Senator Risa sa mga ginagamit na kaban ng bayan, 10 milyon pa nga. Paulit-ulit siya tinatanong kung ano ang laman ng libro. Pero she goes back to saying na pinupolitika ni Senri ang budget hearing, parang she has her guards up at lahat ng question, the slightest hint of scrutiny sa kanya, nagla-lash out siya. Why could she just not say what the book is about? It's probably because she doesn't even know.
And we will send Senator Antiveros a copy so that she will know what is the content of the book.
Oh, this question is not only for me, Madam Chair, para sa mga kasama dito sa budget hearing. Baka ilang araw pa bago mapadala at mabasa ko, which I certainly will. But I am asking a question. Simpleng tanong. Tell us more about the book, isang kaibigan, at ilang kopya nito ang bibilihin ng gobyerno sa halagang 10 milyong piso at i-distribute sa kasama ng mga bags sa 1 million learners sa remote communities.
This is an example of politicizing the budget hearing through the questions of a senator. Ang problema niya kasi, nakalagay yung pangalan ko doon sa libro. At yung libro na yan, ibibigay namin doon sa mga bata. At yung mga bata na yan, may mga magulang na boboto. At yung pangalan ko ay nagkalat doon sa kung saan man ibibigay yung libro. Madam Chair, we commit to send tomorrow everyone in this room a copy.
Madam Chair, hindi ko maintindihan yung ugali ng ating resource person. It is a simple question. Paulit-ulit na this is politicizing. Ang VP ang nagbanggit ng salitang boboto. Wala akong sinabing boboto. I'm simply asking, hindi ko ma-imagine we're making so much trouble, so much fuss about a 10 million peso item na itinatanong ko lang simpleng, what is the book about? At ilang kopya ang bibilihin ng gobyerno sa halagang 10 milyong piso at i-distribute. I don't appreciate this kind of attitude, Madam Chair.
Now, brinrot out niya na humingi raw ng tulong sa kanya si Senator Risa pero hindi niya tinulungan ng ilang beses na matalo siya with Senri interjecting na 2 beses na po ako natalo.
Yes, Madam Chair. Hindi ko rin maintindihan ang ugali ni Senator Risa Ontiveros and I do not appreciate, ano yung sinabi niya? I do not appreciate this kind of behavior and attitude. Madam Chair, noong 2016, tumatakbo si Senator Risa Ontiveros na senator, nakailang talo na siya. So,
2, Madam Chair.
Okay, 2. Natatakot siya sa pangatlong talo niya, kaya pumunta siya sa Davao. Humingi siya ng tulong. Tinulungan siya ng isang kagawad ng Davao. Humingi siya ng tulong sa akin, thinking na hindi mananalo si President Rodrigo Duterte. Kinausap niya ako ng kinausap doon sa law office ko sa Davao City. Hindi naman siya tumutulong kay Pangulong Duterte, hindi din totoo yung sinabi ko na tutulungan kita. Tinext niya ako. Pwede ba akong mag-follow up sa hinihingi kong tulong sa boto dyan sa Davao City? So sabi ko sa kanya, okay, sige. So tinawagan ko at sinabihan ko at pinakiusapan ko si former Congressman Milen Garcia. Sabi ko sa kanya, Kong, tulungan mo ito. Bigyan mo na lang ng ilang barangay mo at ilang mga leaders mo. Ayaw pa siya tulungan ni former Congressman Milen Garcia. Pinakiusapan ko ulit, Kong, please tulungan mo na lang. Nanalo na siya at nung nanalo siya, anong ginawa niya? Siya ang pinakaunang umatake kay President Rodrigo Duterte. Anong tawag sa ugaling ganito?
VPSWOH thought na na-corner na niya at mapapatahimik niya na si Senri kasi nga inungkat niya yung history at yung paghingi ng tulong daw ni Senator Risa kay Sara Duterte. But she admitted na she talked to local officials as a courtesy meeting sa mga may bulwarte na pupuntahan niya at namumuno to not bypass anyone. Hindi siya humingi ng tulong. Yun ang sabi niya. Kumbaga, she's an open book, unlike what Sara has been writing. The book in question, by the way, is basically just pangangampanya or early pangangampanya at brand/name recognition sa mga indigenous communities at, impoverished communities. Sa dulo ng libro, may isang page pa nga na dedicated to her lang, kung saan sinasabi na ito si VP Sara Duterte at isa siyang tunay na kaibigan. It's a shallow front to imprint your name sa ating mga kabataan at sa kanilang mga magulang, just so that you could say na, you have a lot of educational activism. At, you did a lot for education, when in reality, ginamit mo lang itong librong ito para pangampanya for 2028. Now, meron pang issue na plagiarize pa raw ang libro, pati na ang contents nito, na makikita raw sa stock at free resource na makakopy and paste sa Canva free version. Ang nakakatawa pa rito is the fact na itong pabula na ito, nung magkaibigan, ay patungkol sa isang bagyo na nangyari with the friend insisting na nariyan ako para sa iyo, hindi ako aalis sa tabi mo. Nariyan siya para tumulong at hindi siya iwan. I mean, sounds familiar, di ba? Kasi, again, yan kasi yung hindi nagawa ni VP Sara nung umalis siya papuntang Germany on a scheduled flight. Tapos, ang ilalagay nila sa last page ng libro is si Vice President Sara ay isang tunay na kaibigan. In a weird homage to a fascist refrain na the fascist is your friend. She feels entitled to just have the budget without the questioning, without explaining where it will go, or just even what is it, what is the content of that book. Pero, this is not surprising considering ganyan din ang kanyang pag-asta last year during the confidential and intelligence funds debacle. Tandaan natin noong siya ang mayor ng Davao, meron siyang cumulatively around 5 billion na confidential fund, averaging at around 460 million for the last 4 years of her being the mayor of Davao City. Ganoon kataas ang kanyang expectation sa confidential fund. So, nung nagkaroon siya or in-scrutinize ng netizens at ng mga mambabatas yung 750 million na confidential fund na kanyang hinihingi, nagalit agad siya. Tapos ngayon, 10 million na lang na in-scrutinize ng kaunti, tinanong lang kung ano yung laman nung libro na ginawa mo, supposedly. Bigla na lang, hindi ko po alam. Tapos, pinopolitika kasi ako. Di ba? Entitled si Prinsesa SWOH. Here is a page news for your convenience kasi ang dami na tapos kakagising ko lang. Taal Volcano nagbuga ng smog. Bumuga ng 3,000 tonelada ng sulfur dioxide nitong August 19 ang Taal Volcano na ng manipis na bumalot sa impapawid with fog observed dahil na rin sa 2.4 kilometers tall plume. Walang nai-record na pagyanig dahil sa pagbuga nito ng usok ayon sa Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Volcanology and Seismology o DOST PHIVOLCS. At yan na po din po sa news and worthy recap with edition for roughly the 3rd week of August 2024. Most are just some more topics and or corrections to the balitas if I feel I mispresented them in any way. Salamat sa panonood mga kabang. For me, like, subscribe, follow my links and socials and of course, choose to be like down below. Classes is starting for me, but kaya ako nagpagupit ng ganito. I didn't like it. By the way, I like my wavy hair. It's kind of a signature already at this point, but I hope this will grow faster. But it's less than a week. It has it has the opportunity or the time to grow for just less than a week, so just look out for it. Now, salamat sa nanonood mga kabang. For me, like, subscribe, follow my links sa socials and avoid shows that would be linked down below. So susunod bali of course. Paalam. Wait.
you.